Hi, in this video of Inkpot, we talk about the taxation on savings. Taxation on savings is like something that we have studied already in the last year in semester 3 in intertemporal. Having said that, even if you don't remember that one, it doesn't matter. क्योंकि जो tax on savings का decision है, it's actually like a decision on two commodities. Just to set the backdrop, what did we do in intertemporal? And what is the impact in this particular concept? So we have present consumption here and we have future consumption here. Imagine this to be the budget line of a consumer wherein he is earning omega naught today and omega 1 tomorrow, omega being his consumption. Then imagine what is the point here. This question mark is the question mark which represents the maximum amount of present consumption he has in case he doesn't have any in the future consumption. अगर वो सारा का सारा आज कंज्यूम करेगा तो ओमेगा नॉट तो कंज्यूम करेगा ही करेगा, प्लस जो उसको लगता है वो फ्यूचर में अर्न कर सकता है उसके ऊपर आज बोरो करके अर्न कंज्यूम करेगा. सो दिस बिकम्स द इंटरसेप्ट हियर. And similarly, the intercept here is going to be omega 1 plus omega naught, and we're saving the entire amount into 1 plus r. Now, these are two extreme points which we know are never possible, just makes sense to study them right now. So, if the consumer is consuming at point E naught, then he's consuming the point C naught. So, C naught is less than omega naught, which means this person is a net saver or a net lender. If there was another scenario wherein this person again has present here and future here, and this person is having this budget line wherein this point is the point omega not omega 1, this point is the point omega, and again we know the intercepts. But if this person on this budget line was consuming at E naught and now C naught is outward to omega naught, which means now this person becomes a net borrower. क्योंकि अगर उसकी कंजम्पशन जो है वो इनकम से ज़्यादा है तो उसको बोरो करना पड़ेगा. कैसे बोरो करेगा? तो वो बोलेगा ओमेगा नॉट मेरे पास है, मुझे कुछ पोर्शन और चाहिए फ्यूचर में से जो कि मैं आज कंज्यूम करूंगा एंड उसके ऊपर मैं इंटरेस्ट obviously दूंगा. So this is the amount of this is the point E1. So when you go from future to present or present from present to future, then automatically the conversion is 1 plus r. So 1 plus r is my slope of the line minus 1 plus r is the slope of my line. Now we want to understand कि जब हमारे पास इंटरेस्ट टैक्स होता है तब हमारा कंज्यूमर कैसे रिएक्ट करता है. So जब interest tax होता है, that automatically implies that the R that I have falls. So if earlier I was earning 10% and now there's a tax on interest rate at a rate of 20%, then I'm not earning a 10% anymore, I'm earning only 8%. So if R falls, then what happens? When R falls, then there are two effects which happen simultaneously, which is your substitution effect and income effect. So जब R fall करता है, then the opportunity cost of consumption today falls, which implies my consumption today should rise. So if I wasn't saving earlier, या फिर अगर मैं पहले कंज्यूम ज़्यादा कर रही थी तो मैं सेव कम कर रही थी. जब मैं सेव कम कर रही थी, so automatically then I was earning less. I was foregoing a 10% on each of the unit I was consuming and not saving. But now I'm foregoing only 8% on each unit, which means that my opportunity cost of consumption today has fallen, so which means I can consume more. Income effect says that by saving the same amount as before, I am now less richer because I am now earning less. क्योंकि पहले अगर मैं सेम अमाउंट सेव करती तो मैं 10% अर्न करती. नाउ ऑन द सेम अमाउंट आई एम ओनली गेटिंग 8%, which means I'm earning less. If I'm earning less, that means I'm less wealthier and I should be able to afford less of both the goods, which means my consumption today should fall. Which means that economists say in the scenarios where substitution effect is equal to income effect, then that means my consumption today should remain constant. इसकी सब्स्टिट्यूशन इफेक्ट की वजह से कंजम्पशन इंक्रीज हुई, इनकम इफेक्ट की वजह से कंजम्पशन डिक्रीज हुई. अगर दोनों सेम है तो कंजम्पशन कांस्टेंट रहनी चाहिए, विच मीन्स द टैक्स बिकम्स नॉन non-distortionary, which is not true. Non-distortionary, which is not true. And why is it not true is something that we are showing here. So it is not true because when you're taking consumption today, this is present, this is the present consumption, and herein is our future consumption. Herein is our future consumption. So initially this is my budget line, wherein we have this as omega. This is omega naught, income today, omega 1, income tomorrow, right? Iske andar we are consuming at this point. We are consuming, let's say, at some point like this. This is my E. So, which means that this is the consumption today, C0, and this is the consumption tomorrow, C1. Now, what happens when there's an interest income tax? When there's an interest income tax, like we said earlier, R falls. When R falls, our budget line swindles like this. Now, why is the budget line falling? I'll just compare a point 1 and 2 with you. 1 पे हमारे पास intercept था omega naught plus omega 1 upon 1 plus R. R fall कर गया तो मतलब denominator fall कर गया. Denominator fall कर गया तो मतलब ये जो पूरा piece है वो rise कर गया, which means automatically you move from 1 to 2. Similarly, how do you move from 3 to 4? At 3, the point was omega 1 plus omega naught into 1 plus R, present consumption. आप सारा का सारा present का future में consume कर रहे हो, right? Which means when R falls, then that means this entire thing falls. If this entire thing falls, that means this entire thing falls, which means 4 is going to be a point which is going to be lower, right? So when we draw an IC here, we are saying substitution effect is equal to income effect, which means the point is going to be consumed here only. So E and E star will be the same points here. Same points मतलब C0 same है. Same points do not mean C1 same है. So distortion तो हुआ ना, distortion इसलिए हुआ क्योंकि C0 same रखा भी अगर हमने तो भी C1 तो fall कर गया, which means there is a distortion, right? Just to prove the distortion now, what do? We say, let's suppose there was a lump sum tax. There was a possibility of a lump sum tax. Lump sum tax will shift this line, this blue line parallelly inward. So जब वो हमारे पास एक blue line parallelly हम inward shift करते हैं, तो इस line को हम बोलते हैं कि ये हमारे पास एक lump sum tax line है. What is this lump sum tax line doing? This lump sum tax line is keeping the IC of the consumer same, which means that the purple or the violet and the green line, they are both making the consumer making the consumption on same IC, which means the welfare or the distortion in both are same. But if you look at it very carefully, let me mark this point, this is E hat. If you look at this carefully, then this gap, you see this purple line gap. Now this gap is the gap which is a higher amount of revenue in income tax, also, which means that in interest income tax, where there is a substitution effect, this gap is the distortion, this gap is the extra deadweight loss, this gap is the extra deadweight loss, and this extra deadweight loss is occurring only and only because of substitution effect. So eventually we are saying the same thing over and over again in different ways and means that substitution effect is the effect which causes more distortion. So we'll talk about the same thing in income tax as well, tax on labor income as well. Thank you.